You ever see a game do everything right, then completely faceplant over one dumb mistake? Like 8 years of hype, ruined by a single missing feature or bugged NPC. We're talking about those almost perfect games that self-destructed over the tiniest things, the ones that make you yell, "Seriously? That's what broke it?" Today we're counting down 10 games that were ruined by one tiny mistake. Let's start with the one that promised the future and delivered a bug report instead. Number 10, Cyberpunk 2027. Yes, Cyberpunk 2027, the game that taught us patience isn't always rewarded. We waited nearly a decade for this shiny neon masterpiece, only to be greeted by floating cars, missing pants, and NPCs frozen in T-pose like they just saw their GPU die. The thing is, Cyberpunk could have been legendary. The world design, the music, Keanu freaking Reeves, everything screamed next-gen revolution. But CD Projekt Red made one microscopic yet catastrophic mistake. They hit launch before the game was actually finished. That one decision turned Night City into Glitch City. Players weren't customizing cyberware, they were beta testing patch notes in real time. CDPR basically pressed release instead of delay. Twice. And to their credit, they've spent years fixing it. But that first impression burned into history. And speaking of delays that really should have happened, number 9, Anthem. Anthem. The game that made everyone believe we were finally getting Iron Man the game. Flying around in those sleek javelins, tearing through enemies, blasting rockets, it looked incredible. Then you actually played it and realized the sky was the only thing with depth. BioWare promised a living, breathing co-op world and somehow delivered an empty lobby simulator. The one fatal mistake? Building the entire game around loot and servers instead of, fun. Mission structure? Repetitive. Story? Half-baked. Endgame? Missing in action. It's like buying a Ferrari that only drives in tutorial mode. Shiny, loud, and going absolutely nowhere. And hey, at least it looked good? The next one didn't even manage that. Number 8, Battlefield 2042. A Battlefield game without a scoreboard? That's not a bug, that's a choice. And honestly, that single design decision told fans everything they needed to know. DICE wanted to reinvent the franchise. Bigger maps, wild weather events, futuristic chaos. But in chasing innovation, they forgot the soul of Battlefield. Teamwork, stats, and bragging rights. The tiny mistake was removing core multiplayer features that defined the series for decades. No scoreboard, no class system, no clear team structure, just 128 confused players wondering who to blame. They basically turned Battlefield into battle confusion. It looked like a war zone, played like a tech demo, and felt like DICE accidentally deleted the fun folder. And speaking of fan bases losing their minds, number 7, The Order 1886. Gorgeous visuals, Victorian werewolves, cinematic camera angles, what could possibly go wrong, right? The Order 1886 was supposed to be Sony's big next-gen flex, the PS4 exclusive that made jaws drop and consoles melt. And to be fair, it did look incredible. The lighting, the atmosphere, the detail. It was like playing a movie trailer on loop. But here's the tiny mistake that ruined it. They made a 5-hour movie instead of an actual game. There was barely any freedom. Half the time you were just walking slowly while characters talked, and the QuickTime events felt like button-pressing practice for future games. It ended before my popcorn did, and that's saying something. But hey, at least it ended. The next one just kept going. Number 6, Assassin's Creed Unity. Yes! Assassin's Creed Unity. The only game where you could fall in love with someone's floating eyeballs. When Ubisoft revealed this one, it looked insane. Next-gen Paris, hundreds of NPCs on screen, smoother parkour, stealth, co-op missions, the works. It was supposed to be a technical masterpiece. And it was. Technically, it worked. Emotionally, it broke us. Because the moment it launched, the bugs were so bad you'd think Ubisoft had coded it blindfolded. The tiny mistake? Releasing it
half-baked. Unity's ambition was incredible, but the execution, literal nightmare fuel. Faces disappeared, frames dropped, NPCs moonwalked through walls. Paris was stunning. Too bad Arno's face kept melting off like a cheap candle. Now, not all broken games were this obvious. Some were just misunderstood. Number 5, Mass Effect 3. Mass Effect 3, the game that proved you can build an entire galaxy of choices and still end it with 3 colored buttons. We're talking 100+ hours of decisions, moral debates, loyalty missions, and then boom! Red, blue, or green. Pick your favorite disappointment. The story up to that point, absolutely legendary, emotional, cinematic, everything BioWare fans dreamed of, but that one tiny mistake, a copy-paste ending that ignored your every decision, instantly erased all that goodwill. It's like studying for a test, acing every question, and still failing because the universe decided. The outrage was so bad, BioWare had to patch in an apology ending. You know it's rough when the DLC is literally our bad. And if you thought fans were mad then, wait till we hit this next one. Number 4, Star Wars Battlefront 2, 2017. Would you like to pay $80 to unlock Darth Vader? EA, probably. On paper, Battlefront 2 was everything fans ever wanted. Stunning visuals, perfect sound design, classic heroes, and that sweet Star Wars nostalgia. But then came the loot boxes. And suddenly, it wasn't about skill, it was about credit cards. The tiny mistake that ruined it was EA deciding progression should live inside a casino. The backlash was galactic. The most downvoted comment in Reddit history came straight from EA's attempt to justify it, and honestly, it deserved the medal for most corporate thing ever said. They took the Force and turned it into the wallet. To be fair, the game eventually redeemed itself after EA ripped out the pay-to-win nonsense. But hey, at least that was fixable. The next one was pure chaos by design. Number 3, No Man's Sky at launch. No Man's Sky, the only game to promise the universe and deliver a planet-sized disappointment. Sean Murray's dream project had every gamer ready to explore endless galaxies, discover new species, and lose themselves in infinite adventure. And then it launched missing about everything. Multiplayer? Nope. Variety? Barely. Gameplay loop? Repetitive enough to make deja vu feel fresh. It was like ordering an all-you-can-eat buffet and getting a single breadstick. Tasty? Sure. Satisfying? Not even close. But to their credit, Hello Games actually fixed it. Years later, No Man's Sky became the comeback story of the decade, unlike this next one. Number 2, Fallout 76. Bethesda said, "You're not alone out there." And they were absolutely right. The bugs kept you company the entire time. On paper, Fallout 76 sounded incredible. A shared world Fallout where you and your friends could explore, build, and survive together in the wasteland. But in execution, it nuked everything fans loved. The charm, the story, the single-player magic, and, well, the stability. The small mistake was trying to turn a single-player engine into an MMO. It just wasn't built for it. Glitches, rubber banding, and invisible enemies were practically part of the lore at launch. It's like trying to play Monopoly using Uno cards. Technically possible, but spiritually illegal. And to make things worse, Bethesda doubled down with that $100 a year Fallout First subscription. Yeah. Nothing says community like locking private servers behind a paywall. But if one game truly defines the phrase ruined by one tiny mistake, it's this last one. Number 1, Overwatch 2. A sequel that deleted the original. Peak genius. Only Blizzard could make a follow-up that somehow gave players less than what they already had. Overwatch 2 was supposed to be the big evolution. New modes, A full PvE story campaign, regular updates, the works. And for a moment, everyone thought, okay, maybe this is the comeback. Then Blizzard quietly canceled the only feature that justified its existence, the PvE story mode. That was the tiny mistake that nuked all the hype in one announcement. Because without that, Overwatch 2 wasn't a sequel. It was a patch note with a price tag. Even hardcore fans started asking, why does this exist? And Blizzard never really had a good answer. And it's a reminder that sometimes one bad call can undo years of goodwill.
And there it is, 10 games that proved you don't need a massive failure to ruin something great. Sometimes it's not the bugs, the graphics, or even the story, it's that one small decision that sends the whole thing into a tailspin. What's wild is how close most of these were to greatness. If Cyberpunk waited 6 more months, if Mass Effect 3 nailed the landing, if Overwatch 2 just stuck to its promise, we'd be talking about them as legends, not cautionary tales. But hey, that's gaming. One line of code, one boardroom call, one bad patch, and boom, history rewritten. Anyway, that's my list, but I know you've got your own scars. So tell me in the comments, what game do you think got ruined by one tiny mistake? If you made it this far, you're officially one of the cool ones, so maybe hit that subscribe button before it gets patched out too. Catch you next time, folks, and remember, in game development and in life, sometimes it's the little things that break the whole build.